Me. Alright, didn't really have an intro for this episode, but hello everyone, welcome back to Dangan Fanfic, New World Order. We last left off, oh my god, I had goosebumps everywhere. I actually went back and rewatched the last video to look at my commentary of it, and like, listening to myself react to it gave me goosebumps. It's such an amazing twist, like, even though the original Danganronpa did it first, that original twist was phenomenal, and they did it just as well in this game. In case you don't know what I'm referring to, and I'm sorry, I know I have been sort of spoiling this for a bit, but just don't. I mean, you probably shouldn't watch this series unless you've played V3, because there's a lot of V3 spoilers and references in it. But yeah, essentially where we last left off, we got to the voting time, we got to the end of the class trial, and found out that the killer was actually Blaise, who is the character that I have spent the entire first chapter playing as. So that's awkward. Yeah, so here's the thing though. Where we last left off, we were able to get Blaise busted for the crime, but... or rather, Blaise busted himself, rather. But I still don't know what his motive is. It relates somehow to the, airplane flight 11037's crash, but I don't see any conceivable way that Blaise could be part of that whole scenario. I don't see how that relates. But I guess we're about to find out.
It seems voting went off without a hitch this time. And yes, you have chosen correctly. The culprit in this case and the brutal murderer of Magnus is none other than Blaise, the ultimate teacher.
By the gods. But why, Blaise? I have searched long and hard through all my data, and nothing offers a satisfactory explanation as to why you'd so brutally murder Magnus. Indeed. I dare say this is completely out of character for you. You wouldn't understand. And why didn't you just keep your mouth shut, Blaise? If you'd simply remained silent, there was no way we'd have been able to deduce the culprit. Just what did you see on your video exactly? We all know you must have watched it. Are you sure you want to hear it? Once I tell you, I can never untell you. Things might never be the same around here again. Things already won't be the same around here ever again. Aw, Grace. Just tell us! We deserve an explanation. As fellow candidates of the World Empire. Is anyone in disagreement? No one spoke up. Very well, but don't say I didn't warn you. One of the first things the video told me is that there is a traitor hidden among us. A traitor that's been pulling the strings behind the scenes, manipulating this whole thing. Most of what happens here apparently happens at their whim. One of us is a traitor? How can this be? We're supposed to be the top batch of candidates, right? How could someone so corrupt possibly advance to such a high position? It's not exactly out of the question. You just need the right connections, power, a good understanding of people. Skills which most ultimates possess by default. So Blaise, you killed Magnus because you thought he was the traitor? I did. The video made one fact very clear. Oh, I see. Oh, so it is sort of like what Kaede was doing. Spoilers for V3 again. Like I said, you probably shouldn't be watching this video if you don't want to get V3 spoilers, but Kaede's entire reason for killing Rentaro was because she set a trap that she thought would be able to kill the mastermind and end the killing game. But Rentaro wasn't the mastermind, and she basically made a mistake and killed him on accident. So Blaise attacked Magnus because he thought Magnus was the killer or the traitor. But I don't understand, what did Magnus even do to like insinuate that he could be the traitor? I don't understand. Why Magnus of all people? The video made one fact very clear. If the traitor dies, the killing game ends. We will all be freed. If it meant the life of just one person, it was a risk I was willing to take. But why? He was a fellow candidate, wasn't he? Was it truly a decision you could make with conviction? And on top of that, the killing game didn't end. My dear lamb, what possessed you to pick Magnus of all people? He struck me as being many things, but a traitor? I had not even entertained such a fancy. And indeed, it's obvious now that I was wrong. It was only midway through the trial that I made my decision. I would try and find the truth, even if it would cost me my life. And that's why you persisted with the trial, to see if the traitor would reveal themselves to us in order to prevent their own execution? Correct. But maybe I was lied to. Maybe there really isn't a traitor. Nobody was willing to speak up when we were all about to pick the wrong person. Everyone except me would have been executed. And I mean no offense when I say this, but I'm the only person who I know for sure can't be the traitor. I see. Though your crime had failed, you still sought to draw out more information. Exactly the same. Well, I keep making comparisons, but it is basically the exact same scenario. It's still as good, though. They're still doing it just as good as they did in the original V3 game. This fan game, I mean. Because, like, Kaede knew that she was the killer in the end, but the reason she went through with the trial was to see if she could draw out the mastermind and find them, but then she lost her chance. Yeah, exactly. Natalia? Blaise, you're being awfully evasive. I could say the same about you. Why were you trying so hard to protect me during the trial? I have my reasons. Reason enough to risk all our lives? I'm sure it must have been a really good reason. Natalia wouldn't have let us all die out of malice, right? You still haven't told us why you killed Magnus, Blaise. The full reason. Great at probing for information, Nat. If only you were as good of a liar. Just explain yourself! The video came with a profile of the traitor. It said in no uncertain terms that they were someone tied to the bombing incident. The downing of Lucinda Airways Flight 11037. I see. So Magnus was the one related to that case, not Blaise. Right. One particularly important detail was brought up. They were hiding their involvement in the aircraft bombing. But that's horrendously flimsy by itself. Anyone could have been hiding their involvement with the bombing. But Magnus certainly was. If I was uncertain about it before I confronted him in the library, I was certain afterwards. He definitely hid his degree of involvement from the rest of us. Was that really the thing that pushed you over the edge? The crime had a certain ferocity. It seems there's no hiding from the Ultimate Warden. Yes, there was another detail in the video. The traitor's involvement in the aircraft bombing incident led to the death of someone who was very important to you. This whole time I felt a deep sense of regret, of guilt. I knew I had something to fix when I got out of here, but I didn't know what it was. But with the video I remembered. I remembered him. Hey, Teach! Teach! Are you spacing out again? Oh. Sorry about that. And I thought I told you to call me Blaise. What's the point of having these catch-up lessons if you're just going to treat it like a normal class? Wow, sorry, there's no need to be serious. You know, it's the usual stuff they teach you in any education degree. You must be serious or you won't command any respect in the classroom. That goes double for students your age. But you're barely older than me. Exactly. So I know what you guys are like. You said you're doing it to command respect, right? But what if I told you that you already have my respect? Don't say something like that so nonchalantly. Oh, what's that mean? Please try to focus on the content at hand. I'll tell you after we're done. Sounds good! Besides, we have a movie to watch afterwards with Ming. Isn't it incredible how far he's come? Yep, he's sticking to the promise like he said he would. Who knew making a club would have this effect on all of us? You have him to thank for that. You have him to thank for that, not me. You know what, this whole scene is reminding me of this one anime. I don't remember what it's called. It's not exactly the same premise as like a teacher who's a student, because I know that's like Negi-sensei or whatever. Being a teacher who's like the same age as his students. That is a pretty okay looking anime, by the way. But I don't remember what it was. It's kind of like this ex-gangster, this really like thuggish guy. Like this sort of delinquent, blonde-haired, sort of Yakuza-looking character. I don't know who he is, but he essentially becomes a school teacher, and despite the fact that he is very, like, brash and rude and violent, like you'd expect him to be, he is a very, very good teacher who cares about his students. I don't remember what the name of the anime is, but I'll leave it in the comments section below, maybe, if I find it out. Give him to thank, not me. He's the one that brought us all together. I wish I could be like him someday. I'm sure you will. Hard work and dedication always pays off. You'll see. So I heard they made you the ultimate teacher. Yes I did. Not sure why though, I'm just a regular teacher. You're kidding, right? None of my other teachers try and make friends with all their students. You even spend your spare time hanging out with us. And because of that, I feel like I'm able to open up a bit. Clever, clever. So that's your secret. You got me. I didn't expect you to use such sneaky, underhanded tactics to become the ultimate teacher. Hey, what if I told you it was earned, huh? You just admitted you had no idea why they gave you the title. So of course I wouldn't believe you. Goodness, you learn fast. I'll have you know I was a lot less rebellious when I was your age. Oh yes, I know. I was there. It was what he always wanted, wasn't it? To die a hero. Surely there was something else he could have done. Anything. What happened to our promise? Ooh. Didn't it mean so little to him? Did it mean so little to him? He had no other choice. You know that, don't you? You know you don't have to carry this all by yourself. That's what friends are for. So how about we make another promise? Another promise? Yes. You have my back and I'll have yours. Is this the ultimate... What was the one that Blaise was related to in the previous, story, the previous killing game? Because everyone in this killing game is, like, somehow related or connected to someone from the previous one before this one. And Blaise was, like, related to a certain character from that killing game, and I don't remember who. I think it might have been the mathematician, but I think that might have been Sigmund. You have my back and I'll have yours. We're all that's left. Is what he would have wanted for us, right? You're right. Shame on me. What type of teacher has to be talked down by a student? Best kind, apparently. Blaise, is everything going to be alright? Oh my god, what have they done to you? It's nothing. What is going on? This is like a whole flashback. They think that I did it. The airplane bombing. Oh! No, someone like you couldn't possibly have... They found the bomb in my luggage. It's over. Not to mention all the other circumstantial evidence they have. Don't you worry about that. I've got a friend. He promised to help you. With his testimony, we might just have a fighting chance. Really? That would be great. Oh, and one other thing. It's circumstantial. Magnus, you can't! He needs you! I'm sorry, Blaise. My hands are tied. Oh, wow. So, Blaise's friend was the guy who was convicted. Holy crap! I'm sorry, Blaise. My hands are tied. But you're the only person who can save him! You have to be there, Magnus! You just have to! I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. What would Jackson think if he saw you right now? What the hell would you know? Magnus, stop! Magnus! It's such a beautiful day, isn't it? Nice and calm with not a cloud in the sky. Life really is so beautiful, isn't it? Oh, so this was also a revenge kill. You know what's happening tomorrow, don't you? Yes. How could I not? I've heard it'll be by lethal injection. It means it'll be fast, right? Apparently the executioner's coming in with clean hands. It's their first time. They better not screw it up. Hey, Teach. Now's not the time to be spacing out. I thought I told you to call me, but... How can you even look me in the eyes? After what I've done. I'm nothing but a complete failure. It wasn't your fault, Blaise. I'm sure you did everything you could. Sometimes you could even reach for the whole world. Grab it in all your arms. Pull and twist, squeeze with all your might, but it wouldn't be enough. Did you always talk like that? No, not always. Seems our lessons paid off in the end, didn't they? Looks like it's all up to you now. You're the last person that can fulfill the promise we made that day. Don't ever give up what you do. You're a great friend and an even better teacher. Because of you, I can move on with no regrets. You and him. I'm so glad I met you two. Why, Magnus? Why did you let him die? That was awful. Sir, I had no idea. How? How could Magnus do such a thing? If I was in your position, screw finding the traitor. The spite alone might have been enough. You couldn't possibly mean that. I don't know what to think anymore. So in short, Blaise, you're telling us that because of the video you were willing to overlook the flimsy logical basis for killing Magnus? Brute. But in the end, does it really matter whether or not he killed Magnus because he thought he was the traitor? Indeed, murder is an unforgivable sin now and always, but Magnus's soul was also not without taint. It's clear he couldn't use his own conscience to shield himself from death. Why would Magnus do something so heartless? He hardly seemed the type.
Why indeed? Oh!
Ah, so you know something about this.
Ah, shucks. It seems the secret's out. I suppose there's no harm in telling you guys right now. The most important period is already passed, after all.
Important period?
Don't you mind that. Now what have I told you? That Magnus's dying words were all true. That he was in fact just like you.
So you were listening in to my crime.
A bear's gotta keep himself entertained. Let me give it to you straight. Magnus really wasn't lying. After all, his beloved nomad friend had been kidnapped.
The ultimate nomad? Kidnapped? Why is this the first I've heard of it? Perhaps more of our memories are missing than we first anticipated.
Poor unfortunate Magnus. Losing his dear beloved friend like that, and undone by something so thankless. To be forced to spin lie after lie. Oh, I have no idea what he's doing right now. He's been so busy that I haven't been able to see him. So busy even though we're the best of friends. Did any of you really believe that?
You mean... No!
Yes! For you see, in using the nomad's life as leverage, the navigator was forced into silence.
Oh my god. I figured that was the case, but I didn't know how to best word it, so essentially Blaise just killed Magnus for no reason. Wow.
Why else do you think he refused to testify? If it were up to him, do you really truly think he would have let your beloved pupil die like that? Sure, the world's full of cruel people, but Magnus probably wasn't one of them. He was a poor lost soul just like you. A person who was willing to do anything for his beloved friend. How unlucky for him. Up to his death, he thought he still had to keep the kidnapping a secret. He died keeping a secret he no longer even needed to keep.
You fucking hell, I can't say that. How dare you mess with them like that?
Me? I didn't do anything. Did I hold Blaise's hands as he stuck the magnet to the chandelier? As he knocked Magnus out? As he let Magnus die?
Don't listen to him, Blaise. It's not your fault. You coerced him. There's no way he would have done it if he'd known all the facts. Right, Blaise? It's okay, Grace. Everyone. There's no need to justify my actions. I think I'm just a selfish bastard who murdered an innocent man over nothing. You'd be right. I should never forgive something like this. And yet, when the chance presented itself for you to escape, you chose to instead to press onwards with the trial. Even if it meant you would die, you were willing to try and find the culprit, the true traitor. Even before you truly realized how wrong your assumptions were, you were content to persist with the trial. You may think you would have let us all die, but it was never really about escaping, was it? Not when it meant sacrificing the lives of everyone else here. That doesn't make me any less of a pathetic person. I wanted revenge. And who knows? Maybe the traitor was just a fantasy concocted by Monokuma to get us to turn on each other. After all, would the traitor really be alive if it became something of our own making? None of what I did can ever be excused. I made a terrible, terrible mistake. Yes, Blaise, you made a terrible mistake. Instead of killing Magnus, you should have killed me instead! Natalia? You're so naive, Blaise. When we first met back at the cemetery, did you really think it was by chance? You mean... Yes, that chance encounter of ours. It was the product of many long hours of surveilling. That sort of thing is possible when you're the ultimate warden. But why? Why did you want to meet me in the first place? Had I known you were in my batch, there would have been no need to stage a meeting. But my curiosity got the better of me, I suppose. Not that the meeting went all that well to begin with. I definitely lost my nerve. You still haven't answered my question! What reason could you have for wanting to meet me? As far as I know, that was the first time we ever met. Not true. For me, anyway. Sure, we never met face to face, but I definitely remember you. I think your student even talked about me. Don't tell me! Yep. Rookie executioner Natalia reporting in for duty. First time I saw you was very memorable. Oh my god! So Natalia was the one who killed him! I don't think I've ever seen someone plead so passionately for their friend's life. If I was a bit smarter, then perhaps I would have listened to your feelings. But it was your voice against many, and the greater good was always more important. Oh my god, talk about a frigging coincidence in the end of this. The fact that, like, this is kind of like what happened, like, okay, it's a bit of a bad example, but an example nonetheless. This is kind of like what happened with Abraham Lincoln, and his son. Essentially, Abraham Lincoln's son was saved by the brother of the man who assassinated him, which I think is a really freak coincidence. I found that out just this morning, actually. I was doing a bit of research. Won't say why, I just sort of found it out. But that's sort of the epitome of how coincidences are. Like, and this is just sort of a good example as well. How unlucky for all of us. I had a bad feeling when I was dispatched to Terminus all alone. But only later did I find out it was a test. My primary objective was not to investigate the crime. It was to mete out justice on behalf of all the victims on the attack. As representative of the great family of law enforcement, no less. I followed the case closely too, you know. So did my sister. She even told me not to follow through with it. We both knew that some parts of the case were highly suspect. And yet, though I thought I didn't have a choice, that I was duty-bound. I just had to be an obedient little girl. A stupidly obedient little girl. I should have listened, but I couldn't. Not when the pride of our family was on the line. And who was I to judge a ruling handed down in an official court of law? And of course, they never disclosed the exact age of the victim, did they? He really was so young. The timing couldn't have been more unfortunate. Terminus had only just amended its laws. If accused of a serious crime, all suspected persons were to be tried as adults. It remains without a doubt one of the harshest legal systems in the world. That's horrible! If you're angry with me, then feel free. You're about to be executed anyway, so please, if you want, take my life. Natalia! Do you think I'm joking? Ever since that day, I haven't slept a single restful night. Everywhere I went, I carried this nagging feeling with me, that even though I did my job, I had still failed. So when my fears were confirmed from our findings in the library, I just knew I had to make things right. That because I failed in my duty to your friend, I owed you a debt that could never ever be repaid. I stayed behind a bit after my designation, you know. That's when I saw you. I was curious, so I followed you to the park. I wanted to ask what you were doing, but my instincts stopped me. He just wanted to have a chat with Magnus, I thought to myself. I thought nothing of it until the body discovery announcement went off. But when Monokuma allowed me to test the properties of the tape, that's when I knew for sure. And that's when I made my mind up. Nat. But even that failed. So now there's only one thing I can offer you. For the blood that has been shed at my hands, I give you my life. Nat! What's Monokuma going to do? The outcome won't change either way. I'm a failure as a warden and I executed an innocent person. How am I any different from you? Natalia! I withheld critical information during the trial, and on top of that I tried to throw suspicion onto myself. All of you could have died because of me. Because it was selfish. So go on, hate me. I deserve it. Natalia, you're a smart cookie. You would have known that exposing the tape could have easily backfired on you. And that's exactly what happened. But in trying to protect Blaise, you opened up an opportunity for us all to figure out the truth. I think a part of your subconscious wasn't going to let you sacrifice all of us so easily. In many ways, you're no different to Blaise, really. But is this really okay? I mean, if the ultimate warden is so easily moved by her own emotions, to the point where she's willing to risk the lives of the 50th batch. You should never be ashamed of your emotions. They're what make us human. Without them, we'd be nothing more than machines, you know. And no offense, Miyu. Though I think you're definitely an exception to that rule. None taken. Thank you, Eden. Besides, I could read your thoughts loud and clear the whole time you're trying to cover for Blaise. You mean? Yes. I was tempted to step in on multiple occasions, but the Divine Eye held me back at every junction. Told me to wait. To let the karmic flow of the case remain undisturbed. And in the end, it turns out it was the right call to make. Oh, Eden knew from the very beginning. I guess I stole your thunder, didn't I, Zeke? Meh. It's good to be on the receiving end every once in a while. Your actions were also questionable, comrade. Why did you also try and make yourself out to be the killer? Hey, sir. I thought I told you not to call me the... you know. I thought it was cool... No! Siri, shut up! No! Bad timing! I thought it was cool how you try and make friends with all your students. Friends with all my students? You really don't remember, do you? Sure, go ahead, continue being senile. It's just like you for your memory to be trashier than a wood-tier scrub. If this is what it's like to grow old, then maybe dying and this killing you wouldn't be so bad. Just kidding! But I'd still like to avoid it if I can. The world hasn't seen the last of my epic plays. I see. So how much did you take away from all of us, Monokuma? Don't tell me that we all somehow knew each other before this. Like the last killing game. It couldn't be. Hey, Nat. Daijoubu. I knew you were just doing your job. Blaise-kun! That act of yours. I don't know why you do it, but somehow I find it so beautiful. Every human is precious and irreplaceable. It is not something you should throw away so easily. You may be carrying a burden, but that burden is only temporary, and it's not something you have to carry all by yourself. So please, promise me that you'll live, all of you, succeed where I have failed. Thank you, Blaise-kun. I'll never forget you. Alrighty! Let's give it everything we've got! It's punishment time! No! The candidates watched in silence as a giant claw sprang out of the ground, ensnaring Blaise in its clutches, before dragging him into the bowels of the skull. The screen that had been sitting in the corner of the room suddenly flickered into life. Letters scrawled across the screen, forming into words before their eyes. Oh no, I'm late to school! Everyone watched as Blaise, now dressed in a school uniform, sprinted towards a place marked as class. As he did, there was a loud rumbling sound. Within seconds, everyone's looks had solidified into horror as various items started falling from the sky. Massive chalkboards, mammoth-sized desks, heavy pencil cases. And all the while, Blaise ducked and weaved through the endless cascade of items. As it did so, class drew ever closer and closer. And his breathing room narrowed and narrowed. Within seconds, there was only one clear path through the falling debris. Yet Blaise persisted, sprinted at its seemingly superhuman speed. But just as he turned the last corner, he looked up and noticed that the cascading pattern had disappeared, replaced with a continuous line of heavy items that blanketed the entire ceiling. Just like that, the path had disappeared. Blaise stopped. Resigned to his fate, he lay down and watched silently, a smile on his face as everything came crashing down on top of him. In the corner of the screen, a robot teacher, pen in hand, moved their hand in search of a name on their roll. Blaise. And with nothing more than a simple flourish, an A was scrawled neatly beneath it. Well, the execution music wasn't well timed. Oh my god. Whispers are telling me to procure a sturdy paper bag. I think I'm going to be sick. Please tell me this didn't just happen. Somebody pinch me. Ow! Sorry, I don't know what came over me. Thank you, Miyu. I needed that. Blaise, fate can be so cruel, can it?
Pooh! Chin up, everyone! You just survived your first-class trial!
And I'm not doing another one! I refuse! What kind of messed up court system do you have here?
Ooh! When you're done protesting, feel free to step into the elevator. It'll take you back up.
Like a bunch of clockwork animals, everyone obliged. Soon after, the elevator started proceeding upwards, the air inside even heavier than it had been on the way down. As soon as everyone stepped out of the elevator, everyone, I have a favor to ask. Meet me in the cafeteria, please. She ran off. Too exhausted to protest, everyone shuffled listlessly into the cafeteria. Sorry about the wait. I just had to make sure it was properly tuned. Ah, how vintage! It's rare to see instruments like that in the 21st century. Did you have it in your room this whole time? I may be the ultimate singer, but that doesn't mean I can only sing. Now, I haven't been practicing, so forgive me if this sounds unpleasant. And, I don't usually sing this type of song. Oh my god, is she gonna play Claire de Lune? If she plays Claire de Lune, I swear to god. You're all free to leave at any time. Most of it's improvised, so it's not like I put a lot of effort into it anyway. Lifting her head up high, she began to play. Yeah, hell yeah, I'll listen. Ooh. Oh, this is beautiful. This is actually really, really nice.
These scars long have yearned for your tender caress.
Ooh.
To bind our fortunes, damn what the stars are. Rend my heart open, then your love profess. A winding, weaving fate to which we both atone. You flee, my dream come the morning. Your scent, berry star, lilac sweet. To dream of raven locks and twisted, stormy, of violet eyes glistening as you weep. The wolf I will follow into the storm to find your heart, its passion displaced by our ever-growing, hardening into stone. Amidst the cold to hold you in a heated embrace, you flee, my dream come the morning. Your scent, berries tart, lilac sweet. To dream of raven locks and twisted, stormy, of violet eyes glistening as you weep. I know not if fate would have us live as one, or if by love's blind chance we've been bound. The wish I whispered when it all began, did it forge a love you might never have found? You flee, my dream come the morning.
That was beautiful. Despite her disclaimer, everyone listened patiently as she sang and sang into the early hours of the morning. Not a single person moved from their seat the entire time. And as the last note fell, so too did the curtain that had been hanging over this most twisted and unforgiving of cases. Oh my god. That was... Oh my god. That whole thing was amazing. Like, for a game that, like, for a fan game that is apparently, like, specifically says that it's got low budget and is thus low effort, the writing of this story is amazing. I don't even care that, like, one could argue that, yes, maybe they do copy a lot of things from Danganronpa V3 and V3's first case, but at the end of the day, I don't care, because if they straight up copied the thing, the only similarities between V3's first case and this case are, one, the protagonist was the killer, ended up being the killer in the end, and two, the weapon was a shot put ball. Like, literally almost anything else is different. So, and the setup and the writing of this so far is so good. Like, with that one song, I think Grace has just easily become one of my favorite characters. But... okay, I'm super excited to get into Chapter 2 of this game. Yes, I've decided I am gonna probably see this game to the end. I don't think Chapter 3 is out yet, but when Chapter 3 comes out, you can bet your ass I will play it. Because this game is phenomenal. Like, props to Mingasoft and Team Alpha and everyone who worked on this game. This was amazing. I think this game is really, really getting to me, and it's so good. This is like, I would so play this if this was a mainline Danganronpa game. I know it's free, but you can take my money, guys, I swear. Alright, but for now, that is the end of Chapter 1, and next time we will be moving on to Chapter 2. So I will see you all later. So long, farewell.